Today is Martin Luther King Day. It's a day that we honor him. He was a man that saw that his country was not just and set out to see if he could change that. And if you think about it, you realize that most of the change really in the history of the world has come because of the demands of the underdogs in society. People for whom a society is set up, those that have the advantages of being the dominant culture in any given society, they rarely have an inclination to change anything. So it's mostly been black people who've had to fight to make America less racist, and they still do. It's mostly gay people that have to fight to make America less homophobic. Poor people have to fight to make America less unequal. Women have to fight for equal pay under the law, equal rights. But imagine if things were different. Imagine if none of those things were true. Imagine if people that had the privilege, that were born into privilege in the society, actually fought to give those things away to those who didn't have them. Imagine if we had a white man that we could honor in the way that we honor Dr. King. Imagine if men fought to make sure that women were paid equally to men. Imagine if the straight students in schools set up a gay-straight alliance. Imagine if the Anti-Defamation League, which is fighting against anti-Semitism, was run by the Christians. Right? And today, as Joanne said, we're focusing on the theme of identity, and in that sense, we're each going to be thinking and talking about ourselves. But one of the most important concepts of social justice suggests that we be able to imagine ourselves in other roles in society and develop our sense of fairness and justice from imagining ourselves in somebody else's position. There's a philosopher called John Rawls, who I probably have talked to you about before, and he challenged us to design a society starting from the premise that when you were designing it, you wouldn't know what role you would play in it. You wouldn't know afterwards which role you would play in that society. He said, no one knows his place in society, his class position or social status, nor does he know his fortune in the distribution of natural assets and abilities, his intelligence and strength, and the like. So again, imagine if you were to design a society that way, you'd probably be very careful to be sure that there were no people starving in the streets, right? Because you would have no idea who you were going to be. It's sometimes hard to see injustice when you don't experience that on a daily basis or even ever. And for those of us for whom this society that we live in was designed, it's hard to notice what's going right for us because it just seems right. We tend to believe still, I think, that our culture provides a level playing field, that hard work is really all that it takes to succeed. And those for whom our society isn't set up particularly well know that that's still largely a myth. It's still a dream, the dream that Dr. King had. And that doesn't mean that we haven't made progress. We've made a whole lot of progress. And it makes the ways in which progress hasn't been made sometimes less easy to point out. Somebody very recently did a study of 30 top colleges in the United States. And they discovered that applicants who had a parent go to that college had on average 7 times the odds of admission than non-legacy applicants. 7 times. And that one fact really says, as clearly as anything, what privilege means, who has it and who doesn't have it, what the lack of privilege means. It takes money to make money, and it takes status to gain status. And if you were to design a society and you didn't know what role you would play in it, you didn't know whether you would have parents that had gone to college, would you design a system that way? Right? Where the people whose parents had gone to a college had 7 times the opportunities that those who didn't. So as you think about identity today, yours and others, and you talk talk with others in our little intentional community, our little society here at Putney. Also, use your imagination, because if you really can genuinely put yourself in somebody else's shoes and genuinely listen and try to feel the world as others experience it, then you're much more likely to see how you can be useful, which is really the object of the exercise. So, have a great day. I think it's going to be fun. Use your imaginations and enjoy yourself.